everybody, and welcome back to our podcast. Today we're going to be talking about senior year and the stress of it and things that people didn't talk about until you experience it.
Exactly.
How did you feel about senior year when it started?
I was a little like, wow, it's towards the end. Like, it's the end of my school career, and it's kind of crazy when you think about it, because it feels like I would never reach this point when I was little. Like, it felt like I was gonna be so old to get to this point, and it's really happened so quickly. Especially high school just happens in a second, and it kind of hit me sort of over the summer, and really on the first few days, senior sunset and doing all those senior things at the beginning of the year, first football game, all that was kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, because we've seen so many other senior classes do it. Even freshman year, it still felt so far away. Oh, that's going to be me, but
yeah, exactly.
not yet. And then it's hello.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised it's already here, but
it's not bittersweet for me.
No,
I don't really find it sad just because I'm so over it.
I'm more
4 years in one place doing the same thing every day. It's not sad for me.
It's the waking up for me.
I don't like high school.
Yeah, no.
I like getting to see my friends and hanging out, and some classes are fun.
Yeah,
but
I'll miss that.
It's the schedule and the pressure of teachers not being understanding sometimes when it comes to, I have other things outside of school, or I have 8 other classes.
Yeah. Also, there's a lot of non-flexibility. There's a lot of teachers and really the administration, not to pick apart anything, but I think it's a little bit more relaxed once you get to college. Obviously, you're getting more responsibilities, and so there's always an upside. But that's kind of just how adulthood is when you get to a point. Is you have more responsibilities. You got to pay for a lot of stuff. You got to worry about stuff all the time. But you have a little more responsibility, and you can kind of be more free, and you have more free will, which is nice. And I think college is kind of nice to set everything up, because then you can feel like you're not just heading straight into the world knowing nothing. You get to live on your own a little bit at least. And that should be nice. There's going to be an aspect where I'm going to be senior year or really high school in general was really nice, and I kind of miss part of it. But at the same time, I don't think I'm going to be wanting to go back. You know what I mean?
No. The only part I'll miss is seeing people and maybe a few teachers, but the rhythm of it and everything I will not miss at all.
And I think that's one thing is with you, to be fair, you probably do find people that you, like us, that we've been friends with for so long, but at the same time, I've known people really in the last 3 years, not to mention since the beginning of high school, and you'll find people in college, there's going to be people that, if anything, you'll connect on a deeper level because you have dorms together, you kind of almost live together, you might go out to eat, might even go out to breakfast every morning, and so there's just a lot more. If anything, there's more opportunities in college, but it does feel a little bittersweet to have kind of the aspect of seeing so many people. I think that's what's really going to be jarring. Is the people I see so much, even teachers, are becoming a little weird just to go to a different place. Even coming into high school was a little weird to have, the new familiar faces and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I won't miss a whole bunch of people.
There's a lot of people.
There's upsides and downsides to.
And I think there's a level of maturity in high school that's not very established. Obviously, high school always feels like it's the most mature, but once you kind of get to probably even beyond to college, and even now, it just feels kind of the underclassmen are a little just not mature yet.
Well, I think in college, it's probably, because I think it depends on the school. Obviously, Mizzou is a party school, so if you go there, I don't think they're going to be, as mature as Harvard or somewhere. I think it also depends on just, where you surround yourself.
Exactly.
Within your major and everything. But in high school, it's just, I mean, the freshmen are still like literally 5 and they don't know how to act.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw some trying to pants each other in the hall the other day and they were running into
crazy.
everyone. Like, it's like, you think that's a good idea? No.
Exactly. And there's always like the freshman fights.
Oh, yeah.
It's like every time, even our class had it of, I don't know what happens necessarily. I never like got that, but they just kind of like start pushing each other. I see that all the time in the hallway with freshmen, and I'm just like, they're just pushing each other, and then I guess the fights kind of start to happen, and that ends up taking away like our more like the stuff that we have with like power lunch.
Yeah,
and
even though it wasn't us who did
exactly.
it. Except that one, was it last year or earlier in this year when he took it away just from the freshmen? Finally.
Oh, yeah.
Finally they learned because it was always them who would cause it to get like taken away.
I remember him making an
even
announcement
though
about that.
it was only the freshman class and
Exactly.
everyone was pissed because it's like we didn't do anything.
Yeah, that made me really annoyed. I was like, finally he's kind of learning from it. It is a little bit difficult though. I get like what he's trying to do because I had other teachers mention that. I've had conversations about that, and they've said like it's kind of hard to like how would you separate that? But I think it's good to just have, even though I mean it is like the freshmen, and maybe they have, because obviously then it goes into A and B lunch, and maybe some of those freshmen will have to stay in some of the classes or something like that. But I think it's just nice to have a separation there, because the freshmen are not, I don't know if it's a level of learning or something, but I don't feel like that happens the older you get in high school.
No.
It just kind of disappears. And really a lot of other stuff, there's minor stuff, like obviously we talked about fights, but there's a level of like insecurity and just kind of maybe just not knowing what the future will hold for some of the younger kids. And so they're kind of like, that's just their way of like dealing with it, which I get, but at the same time, like, I don't know, maybe just kind of they need a little bit of guidance in a way, and maybe find somebody that's a little bit more like on their level, because I can get when either their parents or their like administration or teachers are telling them, do this, do that, and they're like, I'm not going to do that because I don't feel like doing that, or whatever. And they just don't understand it maybe to a level.
No.
But once you get a little bit older, I know a few teachers who, there's kids in their class all the time. Like I've had that pretty much since freshman year, is I've had at least 1 or 2 classes where there's kids coming from outside classes or even just inside the class, and they're having like full-on conversations, not just about work, but like about other stuff. And some of those teachers tend to have a little bit more, like the students have a little bit more respect for them. And I think that's really good to have in high school, is to have teachers like that can kind of, guide and like kind of instill some of the knowledge of it, because those teachers, a few that I'm thinking of, are very like knowledgeable, but they're also very like, they understand the kids too. And so it's like nice, because then the kids will be like, oh, I get why it's good to do this or not to do this. And yeah, that's a big maturity thing. But going back to like senior year, got a little bit off track and talking about freshman year, but senior year, it's a very like, I don't know. It's the same thing with freshman year, where it's like you always think it's going to be very like, oh no, what's going to happen? It's very like,
well, it's
crazy.
more of a question mark for senior year, because like they don't really like talk about it a bunch.
Yeah.
Like you watch your friends and like the other seniors experience it, but no one really like talks about it. Whereas freshman year, it's more of like you have to get used to this new rhythm and the way like your schedule is and how high school works.
Exactly.
But in senior year, like the start of it, it's like a panic, because you're like, well, what am I supposed to be doing? Because everyone is, because in past years it's like, oh, my friends have done this, they've gotten into college, they've done whatever, and it's like, well, what am I supposed to do? When am I supposed to do these things?
Yeah.
It's just not really like
talked
about really.
Yeah.
Like, I wish they would almost have a meeting at the beginning of senior year with the senior class to be like, here's an ideal like timeline of when things should happen.
Yeah.
So then that way you can be on track, because trying to like sit down and figure it out can be overwhelming, because I know there's a lot of people who apply to like so many colleges, and it's like I don't even know how you keep up with that, because each school has a different like deadline and everything, and I could never do that. Like,
it's crazy. It's a lot of just really the apply week. Luckily, like there is kind of a lot of like it's publicity, I would say, is of that for apply week, because it's good to kind of have the kids know, like, even if you know nothing. Obviously, I did a story on apply week, and so I kind of learned that there's some kids that have no clue what's going on. Like, they genuinely are, like, clueless, and it's really nice that at least there's something. But I would agree that there should be some type of, like, assembly of just talking about it. Just even, like, senior year, just talking about it. Like, even if it's very brief, and kind of just saying, wow, you made it this far, and there'll be more challenges ahead, and even in this year, like, it should be kind of talked about, because I feel like it's a little, like, not overlooked necessarily, because there's a lot of events, and...
Well, I feel like it's just assumed that people know.
Yeah.
Like...
Weirdly,
yeah. There is apply week, but it's like all the things you have to do before that week gets there isn't really talked about. Like, some schools need a resume, or
that's true.
They need
that's
your essay is a good example. And luckily that's not too difficult, but you can get like stuck on that. It's like, well, what do I do? What do I write it on? Like, because this is the first like real world thing before you're an actual like adult for most people. I mean, it was for us.
Yeah.
And it's stuff that we were never really taught how to do.
Yeah.
Because it's not like we're taught the format of like a resume or how to do these things that like literal adults do. Whereas we're just in high school.
Exactly.
And so I feel like if there was at least something to help.
Just to help at all. And I think this is just being a little bit more optimistic. There is something to have where it's like learning this and making the mistakes of, well, what do I do with essay? What do I do with this? And like, I think there should be a level of like, it doesn't have to be like full help, but like at least a little bit more help than there is maybe now. But I don't think it's fully like terrible to have the kids kind of figure it out on their own. Obviously there is still like some help, but I think there should just be, as much as I was just saying, like there should, like, it's good to have the kids learn it. I think it's also just kind of better to have the teachers or counselors or administration kind of help at least a little bit, just kind of know that you're on the right track, because that is one thing that's kind of like, sure, you might be like sort of confident in it, but you might be like, am I even doing this right? Like, what am I even doing? If I could be doing something wrong. And like,
because like it's like one thing you miss, and it's like
exactly
you're not accepted
exactly
just because of that one thing. But I mean, there's your parents, and there's the help you have outside of school, but when was the last time they applied to college?
Exactly.
A long time
and some
ago, probably.
some people don't have that as well.
Because some people are going to be like first-gen college students,
that
so
too.
Their parents also
exactly
don't know. And, the counselors, they know, and they keep up with it, obviously, because every year they have to help kids, but they don't have time for each individual person.
Exactly.
And I know, especially in our class, there was a lot of people who needed help because no one knew what to do, because no one talks about it.
Exactly.
No one, like, because thinking back in the past, all my friends who were seniors, it would just be like, I got in, I'm going here. And I was like, wow,
it seems super
great.
easy.
But how and when did you, like, it just
when
wasn't,
do you start?
It just wasn't talked about because it wasn't questions I had at the time.
Yeah, you're not thinking about that.
I didn't have to think about it. So, like, when I was applying, I made sure all my friends who were juniors knew, because I would complain about it the whole time. Yeah,
that's good, because I think there is some like level of, I don't know, just difficulty that isn't really there for senior year. Like it is a little bit easier than junior year. I think junior year is probably the hardest overall. Everybody always says that, but I think to say reasons why I would say is because, I mean, not for everybody, because obviously some people have like classes where they're able to be a little more flexible. But last year, I was here every single hour of every single day, obviously besides like sick days, and that's like crazy to me because like next semester I have like 3 hours of like either free time or just like release time, whatever. And it's pretty much, I think if anything, I have less work now, but it's around the same as junior year, but you're there for like so many more hours. And it's the waking up. I just remember waking up at even earlier now.
Every day to wake up at like 6 or 5:50. Like every day, and I had math first hour.
Exactly, that's just it's hard to get through that.
Even at the time, I was like, "This is brutal." Like,
I know.
And now, just to have the freedom to customize your schedule.
Exactly.
Because late start, early release, dual enrollment, like there's just you can TA your senior year, which
exactly
I don't want to do, but
I'm not doing, but still.
I know some people enjoy that.
Yeah, I think there's also just kind of. Overall, there's like obviously the senioritis. We didn't really get too much into that, but senioritis is definitely a thing that I feel, and I started to feel like even towards the end of last year of like.
Oh yeah, I majorly felt it the last month.
Like
I completely dropped
off. Yeah, exactly. It's really kind of serious now, where it's like, if I had to be in the same schedule that I was last year, I don't know if I could be able to handle that because like, I mean, I am feeling a little bit more motivated than last year, but like. Not like enough that I would be able to really get through as much like last year. But I don't know, senior year's kind of, it's crazy, but it's not like there's a lot going on, but at the same time it feels very like nice. There's a level of like finally I'm done.
Yeah, after like first semester passes, or it's just like the end of it like we are now, it's more relaxed because all the college stuff you really have to worry about like the first few months. And then after that, because where you apply doesn't have rolling admissions, then you're just stuck waiting until January.
Exactly.
But until then it's like, well,
what
else can you do?
Exactly.
You just have to wait.
You just gotta wait,
and
literally.
Enjoy it, I guess.
Enjoy it, yeah. But anyway, that's going to be all for talking about senior year.
Yep.
I hope if you're not in senior year, you can actually like use some of this knowledge and be able to actually think about it. Just at least being aware of it is nice. You don't have to like take this to heart, but just
no, take it to
take
heart.
it to heart. No, but just at least take this with a grain of salt. And we'll see you in the next one.
Yep.
All right. Peace.
Bye.